Right, well, the dust has settled after Salute. It's Thursday now, so I've had a couple of days to recover. We all have, really. It's been a lot of work. Salute always is. It's our birthplace, so we always put in the extra work. But yeah, the ship being done, it's finished, pretty much finished. There's a few little details still to work on, like I've got to finish the turret, which is why it's up here. I've got to do a bit of chrome on the barrels, a little bit of highlighting, a few bits of details that are missing. I want to do a bit of airbrush work on the engines as well. We've got another big show, UK Games Expo, coming up in a couple of weeks, so I'm going to fit in a day in amongst there sometime just to do the last few little bits, but it's pretty much finished. You know, I like to hope that people who saw it at Salute really enjoyed it. They said they did anyway. That sort of thing makes it worth it. Seeing people enjoying looking at the monster crazy project that it was. I've learned a lot of things along the way, and it's not my first ever big build by a long stretch. I've built many other big spaceships, but nothing quite this crazy. I don't think anyone in wargaming has tried anything this mad in terms of a custom resin build like this. I mean, it really is a mad project that sane people would walk away from. I guess I thought it would be less work than it turned out. Every single project you ever do, ever, will end up being a lot more work than you think it's going to be, but this one has been exceptional. You know, I mean, it was supposed to be done in the month before the last Salute, so effectively it's a whole year late. I mean, it was probably 90%, 75%-ish, that kind of thing, of the way there for the first Salute, so I reckon another fortnight would have done it, really. So because obviously it's just been a year since the last Salute, but it's not been a year's work at all, because, you know, all the other things for Hulk, the miniatures design, the writing, the photography, the stuff like that, you know, the running company, all those kind of things, they're the important jobs. They're what really matter. So this has been a side project. It's been a big side project, but just a side project ultimately. So it's been a bit frustrating to have to leave it sat there for months on end, almost but not quite finished. So it was really nice to work. So I worked very hard before Salute to get the miniatures for the spaceship game, to get those done so that they could go off to get painted. So I would have this little 2-week window to finish off the ship, and you know, I managed it. Our studio painters coming in the night before Salute definitely saved my bacon, I've got to say. They made all the difference right at the end. It would have taken me, I think I needed 2 more days overall in the schedule, which is pretty damn close. Not close enough, but pretty close. But they saved it at the end, brought it in, made it, just did the last little jobs that take a project over from looking unfinished to looking finished. Those last little jobs, snagging as builders would call it. It's all those little last things. So I'm really happy that they came in and helped, and that just made it look that much better. And I was really happy with the way it looked at Salute. I'm going to be happier once I've finished the turret and the engines, but I'm calling it finished for the purposes of display and things like that. And if I didn't do anything else to it, it would look good, and it's still done.
Okay.
Certainly, never again. That's one. I'm never going to build a resin model this big again as a one-off custom build, because it's just so huge, and it took up this whole room for a year pretty much. It'll be nice for Hulk to have this room back into operation, because we've been playtesting and doing photography next door, and that's not ideal for the people who work in there. So now that this room is clear of spaceship, or will be once I'm done with this and we can get this out of here, then it's back to business as usual in this office, which is good. So the shipyard will be decommissioned, never to build another ship. I might build something else big. Big isn't the same as difficult. It's like the detail takes time, but isn't too bad if it's small. You know, big is fine as long as it's not too detailed, but big and detailed is where the pain comes in. You know, I think the stuff I enjoyed putting it together. That was great fun. I mean, it was the biggest resin kit ever, you know, and I got to build it, which was awesome. Some of it wasn't so awesome, you know, the cleaning up all the parts, some of them, especially certain parts that didn't cast quite as well as others that needed maybe 10 minutes work each, but when you've got 50 of them, that's 500 minutes, that's nearly 10 hours. And as soon as you look at that, then you think, oh, God, and all the doors and everything, that wasn't fun. By the end I was deeply sick of doors because, again, as I've said many times, you've got to do the same thing over and over again. Just a couple of minutes per piece makes a difference. So that was a low light, I guess, of the project, and not having it quite finished, looking very much not finished for the first salute, was a bit of a shame. But getting it built for Spiel was good. Having the prow finished with the resin was great for Spiel. So I was glad I got time to do that, and I'm glad I didn't rush the paint job. It's for Spiel. I decided to just keep it bare resin, apart from the underside, which I'd already painted before the first salute. That was a good choice to do that. Sometimes you got to pick your battles. That's another thing I've not learned that on this project, but it's hammered the message home that you've really got to, as I say, pick your battles. Decide what you can do, what you can't do. Realise what you can not bother doing and what is important. Certain times I spent too long on small things that took ages and left big stuff that doesn't take very long. Things like finishing this turret off, it's a real shame I couldn't get that quite finished for Salute, because it probably only wants 3 hours work, maybe 4 at the outside to get this done, and it's a focal point of the model, so I should have found 4 hours by not doing something else. Equally though, knowing, staying till 4 a.m. the night before Salute to get the engines lit, that was totally worth it. That really was, because the lighting of the engines made a really big difference on the day. So I was really happy that I stayed to do that. I promised myself some sleep before Salute this year, and I got my wish. I got 1 hour, but I don't know how I do it. I think Salute is in a bit of an adrenaline trip, and you run through the whole day. Every single Salute I've run on empty, barely any food, no drink, no sleep for days, but it's never bothered me. And you die for the next couple of days afterwards. I was a walking zombie for Sunday and Monday. I was just hopeless, but that's fine because the show was over. We had a great show. This was our best Salute ever by quite a long way. We were really busy all day. The spaceship was constantly busy, and I was busy all the time. And yeah, so it was brilliant. And we'll be doing something else cool next year, I'm sure. I do enjoy it. It's one of the times in the year when I get to do something that's a bit out of the normal remit of Hulk. Normally I'm just sculpt model, which I enjoy, but it's nice to do the occasional crazy thing like this. So yeah, I'm trying to think of what else I can say as a bit of a roundup. Yeah, it was an experience. It really was, building it. It probably won't be my last crazy project, but something where you've got a repetition of 50 with moving parts and interior detail in 50 areas. No, not again. Definitely not. Learned that. It's just too many hours. I think the total was about 1,000 to 1,200 build hours, something like that, including design as well, because the design I did over Christmas 2013, which, that was a good 3 weeks of CAD work to get all the design done, so I'm including that in the total build time. 6,000 components. It would take 2 people to lift it. Definitely would take, if it was one piece, it takes 2 people to lift the pieces, a lot of them. So yeah, it was really crazy. We didn't really go over budget on it, which was good, because the budget wasn't small, but it was limited because it's a side project and there's only so much you can spend on those. So I managed to control that fairly well. The motorizing of the doors didn't work, but that's okay, because that was always a let's hope it works thing. I'd never tried it before and there were just too many multiples, so not motorizing the doors was a really good decision. Again, pick your battles, know what's important and what isn't. So that was a good call. I wish I'd done the interior lighting slightly differently, because one of the annoying design flaws is those Christmas lights on the inside of the hull. They have a little control box and they have 7 functions, and the default function is random and it changes every couple of minutes. So you've got to press the button on the box 7 times to reach always on, which is what you want. Now the issue with that is all the control boxes are right in the middle of the ship. And if there's any power fluctuations at all, so if anyone plugs anything into the same multi-tap that the ship's plugged into, all the lights reset and you have to take it apart to redo it. That's one thing I would definitely change next time round, because that's very annoying for all of us at shows. It's not a big deal, it just means you've got to separate the 2 halves and press a few buttons, but it's annoying and it's something that I would do differently next time. The structure works really well, very rigid, very happy with that. The way it all fits together is good, the engines go on well. I'd need to do some slightly better fastenings for the prow, but that's fine as well. So all told, the dropship gantries worked really well. I'd like for us to have had more time to paint the condors better, because the rest of the team helped paint those, if you remember, before the first salute, and they were done quickly. There really wasn't very much time, and they could have been done better. So I always look at them and go, think about a model this big. As I said, I could spend a year painting this model to get it up to the standard that I could get it up to. So it's always going to be a project that I look at and think, I could do better there, I could do better there, but ultimately it's the overall effect of the whole model, and you can get right in close and see the detail, and it's good painting standard. It's not as good as I can do, but it's good and it looks great, and that's the point when you stop, because I've got a ton of other things to do now. Having spent 2 weeks on that, the jobs have backed up. So yeah, I've had fun. It's been awesome, it really has, and we'll see what I do next time. I'd also like to say that I hope you enjoyed these videos. I hope you've picked up a few things to see sort of the inside of a project like this. I hope it's been worth doing all the filming and stuff like that, and that you've got this far through them, so thank you for watching. I'd also like to thank all the people that stuck with me through this. First off, my fiancée Bex, who this has been the other woman for the last year. This has been, she's put up with me getting home very, very late on many occasions, because when I get my little windows to work on the ship, I end up doing really crazy hours, because I can't do really crazy hours all the time because I burn out. But if I've got a little 2-week window, then I make the best of it. So I've been home late a lot, and she's been very patient and very supportive all the way through this. I'd like to thank all the rest of my team at Hulk for putting up with me as well through the build, because it's created an enormous amount of mess, huge amounts of mess, stuff everywhere. This room's been out of commission for a year, which has been a pain for everyone, so thank you for that, and also thanks to the guys for helping painting all the condors and things like that, and building the condors, because I had some help from a few people during the build of tanks. I need to build 300 sabres, can you give me a hand? Those kind of things, which are not fun jobs. Generally the jobs that anyone else in Hawk got to help with were the not very fun jobs that were straightforward but repetitive, so they got roped into some of the boring parts, so thank you for that. And yeah, obviously, and thanks for all our supporters who watch these videos and keep us going really as a company. And it's great that we've got that support from the community, and that's awesome. And hopefully long may it continue if we keep doing crazy stuff like this. I think it's not that many wargaming companies do this kind of thing anymore, because there's a lot of good reasons not to do this kind of thing, because it is mad and costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time, takes up a lot of booth space at shows. But I think it's important to do crazy stuff like this, to really just, because it is about the fun. I mean, we all do this, we're all in this industry because we love it. That's what we're here for. That's certainly what I'm here for. I wouldn't be doing all these crazy projects if I didn't love what I did. And I think that's the case for everybody here at Hulk and most people involved in the industry, really. So I think we can keep going with that, and long may I be able to build crazy big spaceships as part of my job, which is is really cool until it's 4 o'clock in the morning and you're there cleaning up the 48th door, which I've done many times on this project. And that's where it's not fun. But so it's not quite as awesome as it might appear from the outside, but it was brilliant, and I'm privileged to be able to do it. So thank you to the whole community for supporting us and me during this build. And thanks for watching again.